Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Stroy. I am the director for the School of Public Affairs, Director of Public Engagement in the School of Public Affairs and Administration. I am also the director for the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Center at Rutgers University, Newark. Welcome to everyone this afternoon. I am extremely excited about this afternoon's Lunch and Learn session with the Department of the Treasury for the state of New Jersey. It has been my pleasure, and it also is my responsibility to connect our students, our faculty, staff, alumni, community partners to organizations, not just in the city of Newark, but throughout the state of New Jersey. It is also my pleasure to work with one of SPA's very own alumni, Dorothy Thompson, who currently serves as the Chief of Staff for the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Department of Treasury in the state of New Jersey, who will be moderating this panel this afternoon. But before we get into that, let me introduce to you briefly. You will have an opportunity to hear more from them, but let me share who is in the room. First, I would like to welcome Myra Azam. Myra is an undergraduate intern with the New Jersey Office of Administrative Law. She is currently a Rutgers University, New Brunswick student studying political science and sociology. Welcome, Myra. I would also like to welcome Amy Davis, Esquire. Amy is the acting director of the Division of Purchase and Property. She has a Juris Doctor degree from the Rutgers University School of Law. Welcome, Amy. There is also Anthony Gatto. Anthony is the Deputy Human Resource Officer of the New Jersey Department of Treasury. Anthony graduated from Rutgers University, New Brunswick in 2005, and he is currently a student in the Executive Masters of Public Administration program at Rutgers University, Camden. So he's not only an alum, but he is currently a student. So students, you probably have something to share with him. We would like to welcome Martin Pertica. Martin has been the director of the Office of Revenue and Economic Analysis within the New Jersey Department of Treasury since 2018. Martin has attended schools at the University of Rhode Island, the University of Connecticut, but proudly has a public policy master's degree from Rutgers University, New Brunswick, and is an Eagleton Fellow. Welcome, Martin. I would also like to introduce and welcome Amanda Trooper. Amanda is the Director of Division of Administration within the Department of Treasury, where she has been for a number of years. She is a graduate of NYU, as well as I'm missing her Rutgers affiliation at the moment. But the wonderful thing, there we go, is a master's degree in political science and women's studies from Rutgers University. Here is why we are super proud. Not only are they working for the state of New Jersey, but every single person on this panel has a Rutgers affiliation in different places and spaces. I could not think of anybody better to share this afternoon with you. I would like to take the time to introduce our moderator for today, Dorothy Thompson. Dorothy Thompson currently serves as the Deputy Chief of Staff for the New Jersey Department of Treasury. Her previous experience includes 4 years in the public sector and 20 years in the nonprofit sector in various leadership roles, which include marketing, fundraising, project, and operations management. She has an undergraduate degree from Seton Hall University and a master's in public administration from the School of Public Affairs and Administration. She too is also an Eagleton Fellow. It is my pleasure to turn this afternoon session over to Dorothy, who will be moderating the conversation as well as the Q&A at the end. Dorothy, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you so much for having us here. It is my pleasure and my honor to be here. And I would like to welcome everyone to our recruitment panel for Rutgers undergraduate and graduate students and guests. So we look forward to sharing some very valuable information with you today. And one thing we'd like to do is just share what is the Department of Treasury about. So the New Jersey Department of Treasury actually oversees the collection of state taxes, the budgeting and spending of all state money, and the issuance of state debt. The department has over 13 divisions and authorities, which include administration, taxation, the Office of Management and Budgets, purchase and property, the Office of Revenue and Economic Analysis, and investments, just to name a few. Today, we have leaders from 3 divisions and human resources who are here to give you all of the information that you're going to need to help you get started on your professional journey in public service with the New Jersey State Department of the Treasury. We also have a special treat because we have a Rutgers student who is also an intern in our department. So you'll be able to hear her experiences as well. So I would like to invite my esteemed panelists to introduce themselves in a few sentences, and we will start with Amy Davis. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Dot.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
students. My name is Amy Davis, and I am the acting director at the Division of Purchase and Property, also known as DPP. We are located within the Department of Treasury. DPP serves as the state's central procurement agency. In that role, DPP procures contracts for state agencies to ensure essential goods and services are provided timely and efficiently. I oversee a division of approximately 150 staff, comprised of the Procurement Bureau, Contract Compliance and Audit Unit, Legal and OPRA, Operations and e-procurement, and our Distribution Services Warehouse. I'm also a very proud graduate of Rutgers Law School in Camden, and I'm very excited that my son will also attend Rutgers next year as a freshman and computer engineering major.
Thank you, Amy. That's awesome. Okay, Martin, would you introduce yourself, please?
Gladly. Thank you, Dorothy. My name is Martin Pertka. I am the director of the Office of Revenue and Economic Analysis. We often go by the acronym OREA, and we work directly for the treasurer on tax policy, tax analysis, and revenue analysis and revenue forecasting. One of the major things that we do every year is track the revenues, the tax revenues, such as the income tax, the corporation business tax, the sales tax, inheritance taxes, cigarette taxes, and we then forecast them several times of the year to help the treasurer put together the annual budget for the state. And I have a small staff. Unlike Amy, we are a tax policy staff of about 10 people. And in addition to the revenue forecasting work we do, we also help write a number of reports that are required by law. We produce statistical reports that we post on our website within the Department of Treasury. And we, in general, are available at the beck and call of the treasurer to help with any tax policy issues that the treasurer needs. Dorothy?
All right. Thank you so much, Martin. I know a lot of people think that it's a lot of analysis going into the work there at OREA. Okay, Anthony, actually, we'll have Amanda introduce herself first, and then we'll have Anthony. Thank you.
Sure. My name is Amanda Trupa. I am the Director of Treasury Administration. Administration is the administrative arm of the Treasurer's Office. We provide department-wide services to all of 25 agencies, both in Treasury and in but not of Treasury. I do have a bigger staff than the others so far that have been mentioned. I have about 270 people, and those 270 people are spread among about 10 different units, and that is budget, fiscal, human resources, ethics, emergency response, and open public records, as well as EEO. And then we also provide statewide services to all of the departments in state government, from the central motor pool, the print shop, and the Capitol Post Office. I am a proud Douglas College alum. I know people don't really know what that is anymore, but I promise it used to be a thing.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Anthony?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Anthony Gatto. I'm the Deputy Human Resource Officer here at the Department of Treasury. Our Human Resources Office here is a comprehensive one. We provide a full range of human resource services to the 13 Treasury divisions, as well as a number of in but not of agencies. In total, we provide we're a staff of a little over 40, and we provide services to approximately 3,300 employees. We have management relations, training, performance management, employee relations, payroll, leaves, and many more, recruiting. So we do the full range of human resource services. Proud graduate of Rutgers College, class of 2005. That also was a thing some years ago, before the consolidation. And now I'm currently a student with the Executive Master of Public Administration program in Canton.
Great. Thank you so much, Anthony. And our current Rutgers student and intern, Myra.
Hi, everyone. My name is Myra Azam. I am a senior at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. I am studying political science and sociology on a pre-law track. And so my role is an undergraduate intern. I'm an intern at the Office of Administrative Law in Lawrenceville. And so I get to see a bunch of legal decisions. I got to sit in on live hearings and get to read the hearings. And yeah, it's a really rewarding experience, and I'd recommend it to you all, whoever has the opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much, Myra. So as you see, we have talent, the best of the best for the Department of Treasury here to share all of their information with you today to help you learn about public service and just working for the Department of Treasury. So we're going to jump right in. So when we're growing up, we often think of that perfect dream job. But once we start taking courses in college, sometimes it changes. Amanda, could you share with our Rutgers students your academic and professional journey?
I would love to. You might be surprised, but as a little girl, I did not dream of being a government bureaucrat when I grew up. I grew up kind of poor, last of 5 children. And my father encouraged us all to go after a career in finance because he believed that a career in finance was your ticket out, make a lot of money. And in his mind, that was Wall Street. Probably an investment banker is really what was in his mind. But I do have a rebellious spirit. And so I said, well, I don't want to be an investment banker. I think I'll do financial planning because I'm good with my money. I'm really good at telling you what to do with your money. So that's what I'll do. And I went down that path and I took accounting. And my first foray into debits and credits, I realized that if I had to do that for the rest of my life, I would just really rather not. So no offense to the accountants out there, but it's just, no, thank you. So I put my degree choice on the back burner, and I decided to just do what I had to do and what I wanted to do. And I started to take courses in constitutional law and women in government, women in sociology, politics of Black America. And I fell in love with what the government is supposed to stand for, what it's supposed to do. And, before long, I had enough credits to not just have one degree in political science, but another degree in women's studies. And my father, much to his chagrin, said, you could probably light those degrees on fire. You can't make any money with that. And that rebellious spirit in me said, we're going to try. Let's see what I could do. So I went to DC, which is the mecca of political activity. And I worked for Women's Political Action Committee, where we raised money for women across the country trying to run for elective office. I came back to New Jersey for personal reasons, and I was the communications director for a state assemblyman. And I wasn't that good at communications, but I was really good at constituent relations. Your local government is where you call when you have a problem, when you have an issue with something in your neighborhood, something in the state, an issue that you need help getting fixed in government. And I found myself to be a really good fixer. And I left there and I started to do legislative. I was a legislative director for a state senator. And I wasn't much better at being a legislative director. But again, I really loved that constituent relations part. While I was there, I was instrumental in getting a law passed for state employees that required the state health benefits program to cover elemental formula for babies. So elemental formula is where you have a reaction to different proteins. And this is the kind of formula that you don't get on the shelf at Walmart. You get this behind the pharmacy counter at Walmart. And at that time, I wasn't married. I didn't have children, but fast forward a lot of years and my second child has severe multiple food allergies. That's covered by that law that I helped pass. But again, not that good at legislative things. I'm not a policy person. I decided to jump to Trenton and work on executive matters, work for the executive branch. And I've been with Treasury for a lot of years. And the thing that I've discovered is through my work with Treasury, I get to work on everything and I get to work on everyone's problems. And I have a lot of constituents now, whether they have over the course of my career, whether they've been pensioners or the people in the health benefits program. But now they are other state employees and other state agencies. And sometimes I get to work on things that affect the entire state. So the governor has passed a law that requires our state fleet, our motor vehicle fleet, to be converted to electric vehicles. And my division gets to do that for the state. And so I will get to touch every part of the state of New Jersey. And so what Treasury has to offer is it's got its hand in everything, right? We do the money, we do the tax policy, we touch everything. And when you're a fixer like me, that's the kind of opportunity that you want. And my father, by the way, is extremely proud of his child with her multiple degrees and has nothing to do with Wall Street.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And I hope that our guests are listening, our students are listening, that, and I would also add to what Amanda is saying, because I heard that when I was at Eagleton, if you are not happy or pleased with where you are, there are a lot of other options. And so with that being said, sometimes we set these academic and professional goals, and sometimes it's actually a good idea to be flexible and open to opportunities. So I'd like to actually invite Amy to share her journey on how she actually ended up working for the government and becoming a public servant. Amy.
Thank you. I knew at a young age that I wanted to be an attorney. I worked in a law firm while in high school and thought I would absolutely return to private practice after law school. So remember that theme as I go on. I took a paid internship for 1 year in college with the Mercer County Courts. I loved it. Great practical experience, a lot of hands-on learning, really a lot more exposure than I had ever received working in a law firm. Upon graduation, I was actually offered a full-time position working with the legislature, which then led to other state promotional opportunities. But again, I thought I would work for the state for a few years, save up some money, and then leave to attend law school. However, once I was working full-time for the state, I decided to stay and utilize the state's tuition reimbursement program, which was really incredibly helpful when you're paying for school yourself, and actually attend law school part-time at night, so I wouldn't have to take out school loans and could gain more work experience. Again, I thought I would only stay in state government through law school now, pass the bar, and then return to private practice. I had, my plan in place. However, when I graduated law school, we had a retirement at the agency I was working at, and the executive director approached me, now having a law degree, and asked if I would be interested in the position. And while I always thought I'd return to private practice, I took a step back and I said, I love the place I'm at. It's like a family. I love what we do. I love our mission. I feel like we make a difference, and there's growth and opportunities throughout state. Do I really want to return to private practice? Why, you know what I mean? So I really took a look at it and said, this is an incredible opportunity. I could learn so much, and decided to stay. And I feel like all those choices and promotional opportunities have only led me to my current position as director of an agency. So definitely the moral of the story is keep an open mind and don't be afraid to see where life leads you. You don't have to have it all figured out. Certainly when you're a college student, you don't need to have it all figured out after you graduate. You don't need to have it figured out in your 40s. You know, you are always changing. Life is always changing, and you don't know what opportunities may present itself in areas that you may have never been exposed to before, but they seem interesting. And, you know, people are always willing to teach you these new areas, and you should absolutely be open to learning and exploring these things.
All right, thank you so much, Amy. And that is the point. And understanding that when you do work with state government, there are options or opportunities for tuition reimbursement and all of those things that you don't think exists in public service when working for the government. So Martin, most of your professional career has been in public service, and you have a unique experience. So please share what those experiences have been like.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I didn't mention before my college background. I figured I'd get into it with follow-up questions. And I started out as an undergraduate with an economics degree at the University of Rhode Island. I ended up moving over to the University of Connecticut for a master's degree in economics. Thought I might want to become a PhD economist because I really liked the different political and economic ideas involved in economics. But then I really was also interested in public policy and how the theoretical side of economics can be used to actually change things in government, in state laws, in economic policies that the state is involved with and has some control over. I went to Rutgers Eagleton Institute and got a master's degree in public policy there, and then jumped with both feet into the state legislature. I remember one of my seminars at Rutgers, they were asking folks in the class what their interests might be and what they foresaw themselves doing in the future. And I somewhat jokingly said I thought I wanted to be a government bureaucrat. And sure enough, I've succeeded. And that might sound dry or boring on some level, but what I found is that by working in state government, both for the legislature and now the last 5 years in Treasury, I have been working with very intelligent people with diverse backgrounds and people who really want to have an impact. You don't necessarily have an impact every single day, but the things that I've been involved with have impacted tax policy, both from the legislature side and now with taxation and Treasury. We've been involved in changing the laws on cigarette taxes and the cigarette tax levels. We've been involved in the inheritance tax and the estate tax. And we've been involved with changing the income tax. And there have been multiple reforms to what's been called the millionaire's tax. And I've had the opportunity to work on those tax policies, estimating how much money the state might bring in by raising certain tax rates. We've also been involved in reducing tax rates for lower income people. The New Jersey state income tax for taxpayers who earn, a married couple who earns less than $20,000, they don't pay an income tax in New Jersey. I was involved in the legislation that that moved that income threshold to $20,000. It's been a varied and interesting career. Again, working with highly intelligent, dedicated people who care about public policy, care about helping and making the world a little bit better, one step at a time. And I get to be involved in that. With the legislature, I also got to work briefly in education policy. Governor Florio had done some major reforms to education policy back in the early 90s, and I got to do the estimates for the legislature on how much school aid each municipality and school district would get. That was stimulating and interesting and had an impact in local governments across the state. I then got to work in the budget and finance section of legislative services, and again was involved with tax policy, estimating different kinds of tax policies, We were involved in the current version of the gasoline tax, which is technically the petroleum products gross receipts tax, but it affects everybody at the gas pump. And we were involved in that. And in passing that legislation when I was back in the legislature, working for legislative services. And now I'm director of the office that does the annual gas tax calculation. And I have the staff people who analyze the amount of gasoline that's being consumed and what the target is every year that we're supposed to raise by law and what the tax rate needs to be to raise the amount of revenue that the law requires. So I've gotten to work, both from the legislative side on passing the laws and now with the under the treasurer and in my current job, analyzing the revenues and things like the millionaire's tax and the gasoline tax. And again, it's been a very interesting, enjoyable, stimulating career. And I've had the pleasure of working with very, very intelligent, qualified, dedicated people. I can't recommend it more than that. And those of you who have an interest in public policy, in tax policy, or in legal policy, Maria had talked about the legal side and her internship. Those opportunities are throughout state government and certainly within the Treasury. There's a great variety of opportunities.
Okay.
Dorothy?
Thank you so much, Martin. I'm hoping that everyone that's on our that are listening to our panelists today are basically hearing the different ways that you can really help others in Treasury. So I'm going to switch things up again a little bit. And Anthony, so we know that Treasury is an interesting place to work, an intern, because of the different opportunities. Could you tell our Rutgers students about some of the available opportunities in terms of being in internships or jobs? And I did put in the chat that link so that individuals will be able to access and see what's available. Thank you.
Absolutely. As was mentioned earlier, we are the state's financial services agency, which includes management and budget, pensions, taxation, ORIA, and as well as the central service agency, which is things like property management, construction, procurement, which is Amy Davis's area. We have the central motor pool. We have print shop. We have a number. We do a number of centralized services that Treasury provides to the entire state government. We also have a number of in but not of agencies that are involved in a number of different areas. There are a couple that are involved in public advocacy type work, such as long-term care ombudsperson and corrections ombudsperson. We also have some new programs like the Cannabis Regulatory Commission and the Secure Choice Savings Program. Those are both things that started under the current administration. They're new programs. They're just getting them off the ground. So there are a lot of different areas that the Department of Treasury that fall within the Department of Treasury. So when seeking a position at the beginning of your career, as some of the other folks here have noted, what I encourage you to do is to be open to a lot of different areas. There are many things that you probably don't even know we do. So when you see postings for interns, for trainees, I encourage you to apply to as many as possible. The niche you fall into may be something that at this stage you don't even know yet. And finally, we hire even in human resources. Our HR office has posted for trainee positions, and we anticipate there will be more. So if you're looking to join our team, we certainly would love to consider you.
Okay, so Anthony, can you also share with our audience in terms of salaries and ranges, because everyone says, it's sometimes you just you're trying to figure out, like, when you're starting out, like, do the salaries increase in state government? Are you at one level? Like, how does that work? Are there unions? How does that work?
Absolutely. When you start off as a trainee, the rate is generally set within the compensation compendium for a trainee, and it is competitive with other types of entry-level employment. But one thing to keep in mind is the salary that you start off at is generally not the salary you're going to be at for a long period of time. There are regular increases based on performance, based on longevity. And many of the positions that we have here are governed by unions through a collective bargaining agreement. So there is a well-defined progression. I started off approximately 16 years ago as a trainee. And over the years, I've progressed through a number of different titles and with a steadily increasing salary. So training and internship positions, it's just the beginning of a long, fruitful career.
All right. And Anthony, are internships paid, or
Yes,
are we just, okay, all right.
we do offer paid internships.
And what is the starting rate of the internship?
It can depend on the specific internship and the specific level of experience of the candidate, but I must say it is competitive with other paid internships in the area.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Anthony. And if any of our audience members would like to place questions in the chat, they can feel free to do so. So Myra, because you are a current student of Rutgers and you are an intern, can you share with our audience just some memorable experiences that you're having as an intern?
So my story with going into the legal field is kind of funny. So I went into Rutgers being pre-med. My parents wanted me to do biomedical engineering. And so I took the prereqs, I took calc, I took chem, I took bio. I did horribly. And that was my sign that I knew I did not want to do science. And in the back of my head, there was a show I was watching, which is kind of funny, How to Get Away with Murder. I was watching that on the side. And I was thinking, what if I pursued law? So the following semester, I registered for the prereqs. I took intro to international relations, law and politics, American government. And I excelled in those classes. I did so well. I realized this is something I can see myself doing. And so COVID hit. I didn't know what to do. Internships were sparse. And I realized, as a senior now, I realized I did not make the connections that I needed to. So once I realized I had the connections now, I was referred to this internship and I got to the position where I'm at. And the most rewarding thing is getting to meet all of the AOL judges and getting to meet everyone in this field. Because if I had not made those connections, if I had not met them, I would not be able to see what it's like in the real world. I wouldn't have real, like, getting to sit in on the hearings, for example. I work in the office in Lawrenceville, but I was able to sit in on a hearing live in Newark at the Newark office, and getting to sit in and listen to see what it's like has been extremely rewarding, because when I have no connections, when you only see things on TV, you don't really know what it's like in the real world. So I had like a notion that it's going to be like cutthroat, very scary. But when I got to sit in, I was like, okay, this is not as bad. It's very, what you see on TV is almost true, but getting to see the law in action, getting to see how it works in person is truly rewarding. And having those connections and being able to have relations with the judges makes things super interesting. And it gives me like an eye-opening experience to what I'm going to see in law school and going out of law school, what's going to come after. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Myra. And the other important thing is that, as Myra is saying, she's getting valuable experience while at school, so that it gives her information about, does she want to pursue a career in that field? And when she does, she will already have had some experience, which will be valuable, which will then also impact her salary when she is hired. Just putting it out there. Okay. So Myra, can you also share the application and interview process for your internship? In the chat, because Treasury is a team, we also have actually a link which describes the internship program, but I'd like Mara to just go into a little bit more detail, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was referred the application from a friend, and so the application was very straightforward. It just asked for my basic information, my Rutgers experience, my resume, my transcript, and I applied, and it was very straightforward. I think within like 2-3 weeks, I got an answer back, and I had my first interview. I interviewed for, I think it was risk and management. I forget the full title of the name,
It's
but it was
risk
that.
management, yes.
Yeah, risk management. They also interviewed me, and then OAL, the Office of Administrative Law, they also interviewed me, and I was given both positions, and I didn't know which would work best for me at first, just because I was still new to all of this, and so when I did more research on the Office of Administrative Law. I realized this is pretty much copy paste of what I want to do, so that it was very straightforward, very easy, it was easy, I should say.
Okay, that's wonderful. So when people think of Treasury, they think that it's basically or primarily about budgets and money. And it is, but there are a lot of other requirements or other skill sets. And so I would actually like Martin, Amy, and Amanda to basically talk about the different backgrounds and degrees that your employees may have in your different divisions. Thank you. And then after that, we're going to open it up for questions from our audience. So we can, go ahead.
I don't mind starting. Again, my office is smaller. It's got about 10 people. Sometimes we have as many as 12. But we look for people with a variety of talents. And obviously, we have economists. We've got a couple of PhD economists here. I never got my PhD. I have a master's in economics and a master's in political science, public policy. We have currently a fellow on the staff who has a math degree, but he is at Rutgers completing his PhD in economics, and he was an intern with us a year ago. So those kinds of backgrounds help. We have people on my staff who have an accounting background. We have people with policy and finance backgrounds. And so we're looking for a variety of people and people with multiple skills, people who can do a little bit of math, people who can write, people who can research. So our office looks for obviously people with some economics and math background, but there's more to it than just that. And I know that Treasury in general, or the Office of Management and Budget, which is not represented here, they also look for people with policy backgrounds, accounting, finance backgrounds. So it's a lot of different opportunities for a lot of different skill sets.
Thank you, Martin. I'd also like to add that public administration backgrounds as well, business, communications. Okay, Amy?
Yes, I am happy to say that we are definitely, I think, more inclusive than some other agencies that have more of the tailored role. As far as we hire candidates with all types of degrees. You would be astonished if you walk down the hall, and I could point out, we have a music major, English, history, criminal justice, accounting, finance, business, exercise science. They are all welcome here. And we're really looking for analyst trainees to come in with a college degree and assist agencies with procuring goods and services. So what that really means is when an agency needs something, they send a request to us through our central intake office, and it's a scope of work, right? And they tell us, what is it that they need? When will they need it? What is it? What are the specifications? What are the requirements? And we really work with them to make sure is the who, what, when, where, why, how covered in the scope of work, right? So that when we put this on the street, we advertise it on our e-procurement system. Will vendors from the public understand what the state is asking for? And will they be able to respond in a bid and provide a response that will be successful? that covers everything that the state is asking for. It's really interesting. Our analyst trainees have a contract portfolio with various subjects from various agencies. So it's not one thing that you're doing all day. You really get a chance to own your contracts and be the subject matter expert. And the agencies who are short-staffed typically and have a lot on their plate and are doing various things really appreciate the assistance that we provide at DPP and assisting them with getting to the finish line so that we post this advertisement, we work with them to evaluate the proposals that are received and make an award as soon as possible. Our contracts cover 4 main areas. We have professional and environmental services, technology, the general services, and commodities. So you can even see from those 4 subject matter headings that really, there's so many different backgrounds and things and courses that you may have taken in college that could touch upon that. And certainly, you know, the various agencies within state, human services, corrections, you know, treasury agencies, we have information technology, you know, really covers every subject that you could think of. The good news is we don't expect you to know anything about contracts, contract law, procurement, or even about the general area of supply chain. I think Rutgers does have a supply chain minor, which is fantastic. So there may be students who've taken courses, which is definitely a plus, but not required. What we're really looking for is anyone with an interesting background who has a desire to learn, work hard, work well in a collaborative team setting that has some degree of an ease with technology. You will be using Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, and be trained in our e-procurement system, good communication and analytical skills. So really, this is a job opportunity at DPP. I'm giving a shout out to DPP because that's where I am. You want to work here. We're always looking for analyst trainees. We do have a lot of folks that are right out of college, and we have some also more experienced folks from various backgrounds that are doing something now completely different than they've ever done before, but are really enjoying the subject matter, enjoying the opportunity. And we certainly hope that more students and alumni from Rutgers continue to apply and look for opportunities at DPP and within Treasury.
Thank you so much, Amy. Amanda.
I have people on my staff with every possible degree you could think of, because remember, Treasury touches everything. We touch every department, we touch every division within Treasury. And so on my immediate staff, I have people with communications majors, marketing majors. I have attorneys. I need auditors, so I need accountants. I need graphic artists. We need mechanics. We need every type of worker you would think of. We are also trying to build up some of our trades. So the people who do work in the print shop or the transportation services. We do have some opportunities there as well. So we really do want every type of degree you could think of.
That's what I say. They're just, yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. And I'm noticing a question in the chat, and I'm just going to throw this out to all the panelists, and you can choose to answer. So what type of mentoring or coaching do you provide entry-level professionals?
I can jump in there. So we have training on the different areas of procurement, drafting a contract, evaluating a contract, what our operating procedures consist of, every aspect of the job. But we've also implemented something new, which is actually teaming up with Rutgers and their professional educational opportunities with having speakers come into our office and discuss certain topics such as, you know, communication skills, how to deal with difficult people, you know, the secrets to being successful, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really great because it's expanding the scope that we don't just care about teaching staff about procurement topics, but also really practical professional skills that are actually valuable, not only just in the office, but I think in your everyday life, as we all deal with family members and issues and right? How to effectively communicate and resolve conflict resolution.
When a trainee starts within our agency, the purpose of that trainee, that you're generally trainees, the training period is 1 year. During that period, you are provided both formal training as well as practical work experience in the particular discipline that you're a trainee within. So when you come in, like Amy said, we don't expect you to have any experience in contracts or in human resources in our case. The whole purpose of it is to gain that body of knowledge so that you can function at the journey level and then launch a long and successful career. And in addition to that, we also have something called the Upward Mentoring Program, and that's an acronym. You're going to find if you come into government, there are a lot of acronyms. And the acronym is Utilizing People Who Are Really Determined. And it's a program in which experienced supervisors and managers assist employees in developing skills and knowledge to enhance their personal and professional growth. So like we said, there are many opportunities to be mentored, both in very formal settings as well as in very informal settings as well. I can tell you now, I've been with the state 16 years, and I've had many mentors over the years that have taught me a lot and have really gotten me to where I am today.
Thank you very much, Anthony. So I'd like to open it up to our students and our audience. If there are any questions, you can feel free to raise your hand or you can type it in the chat. You can unmute yourself as well if you do have a verbal question that you'd like to ask, or feel free to type it in the chat for all of us. Okay, nice. Okay, so we have a question from Winifred, and she's asking, is the office accepting applications for summer 2023 internships? The answer is yes, but I'll defer to my panelists.
I couldn't unmute myself quickly enough. Yes, we're accepting applications now. I believe our Human Resources Officer, Antoinette Sargent, put the application link in the chat, so you can grab it there. In fact, we are looking to see if anybody is available before the summer as well. So I have opportunities in my office that if you're available by the end of the semester, you know, we have work for you.
And I just want to add to that, thank you, Amanda, that when you're applying, you're not just applying to one department. And I wanted to explain the hierarchy. So if you think of Treasury, it's like Treasury's like this house, and then there's a breakdown of about 13 divisions. And we have 3 of those divisions represented here. So Amanda does administration, Amy does purchase and property, which is procurement, and Martin does the Office of Revenue and Economic Analysis. But there are 10 others. And then we also have the in but not of. So you'd be applying to all of them, and you don't have to wait until the summer to apply. So you can definitely click on that link on the chat and get your process started. Okay, we have another question. So what is one piece of advice during college that you found to be truly helpful as you considered your next steps once you graduate? And this is from Joelle Chapman. So I'll ask that question again. What is one piece of advice during college that you found that someone gave you that you found to be truly helpful as you considered your next steps once you graduated?
I actually received some life advice while I was in college, and I live by this. So this is a really great question. So life is a whole series of experiences and events that happen to you, right? And some of them are positive, some of them are negative, but you are not defined by those experiences. You are a product of those experiences, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is the way you react to those experiences. And that is what determines your character. So when adversity comes your way, how you react to it is going to say a lot more than what actually have happened to you.
Over time.
So stay with it, just like all you've heard from all of us. We've all hit a wall at some point, right? I mean, Myra's like looking at how to get away with murder and totally on the side of the operating table here.
Yeah.
So take those events, and maybe sometimes they're negative events, and turn them into opportunities and see what you can make out of it.
Not for the kids, but.
Thank you, Amanda. Anybody like to add to that?
What do you think?
I think in general, as you transition from college to having that, real job, just some general guidance I would say is always be on time or early. Don't procrastinate, be prepared, take notes, communicate well, always act professionally, try to be a positive person, treat others with respect and kindness. You may not like every teacher, job, or boss, but you will certainly learn from all of them, and it really will help you mold into the worker and leader you want to be.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Amy. We have another question.
Other piece of
Oh,
advice
go ahead, Anthony.
for someone both in college and as you begin your career is to network and to do it early and do it often and do it.
That's right.
You can do it both in person as well as in the social media realm. As you move along in your career, many opportunities will come along through the networks you build, and people will remember those personal interactions. So to network is certainly a piece of advice I can give.
Thank you very much, Anthony. And to our mid-career professionals, because when I did Rutgers, I had worked nonprofit and I was looking to transition definitely into government. And it was my Eagleton internship here at Treasury that then afforded me the experience and exposure that then provided me with the opportunity to be in this current position that I serve. So definitely Treasury does offer year-round internships, just so everyone is aware. Networking, LinkedIn. I know that at Rutgers, there are times when they offer headshots, get some help with your LinkedIn profile. And definitely that's very important. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions or any other pieces of advice that our panelists would like to share to students.
I would just say, working for the state, you get to meet a lot of different people and learn many different areas. The work is interesting and you generally feel like you're making a difference almost every day. And there are many opportunities for advancement, excellent benefits, and you can achieve work-life balance. And I have no regrets about not returning to the private practice, where many of my friends from law school, if they are still there, are not entirely happy and may be looking for opportunities elsewhere.
Thank you, Amy. And I have a question. 1 second, Anthony. Can a certain degree be substituted for what's listed on the job description for someone who has a degree in public health and public administration?
The short answer is it depends. A lot of when you read a job posting, particularly one that requires a specific type of education or specific type of experience, what I encourage you to do is read the entire job posting. A lot of times it'll say something like this degree may be substituted, additional experience may substitute for this degree, or sometimes it's the opposite way. It may require 1 year of experience, but a specific degree may substitute. So what I encourage you to do is read the posting very carefully. And then the other thing is sometimes when it says or a related field, apply anyway. Include, one thing is very, very important, and I mentioned this, a lot of people unfortunately don't do this, so I emphasize it. If the posting asks you to attach your transcripts, it is imperative that you do so. Because a lot of times when it's like, if it's language like, or a related field, the only way we can evaluate it is by looking at your transcripts. So I would
Thank you,
encourage you
Anthony.
in that situation to certainly.
We are down to our last few seconds, and it has been a pleasure sharing with you about the many different job opportunities and internship opportunities here at the Department of Treasury. Thank you so much to our panelists for taking time out of your very, very busy schedules, especially during budget season, to give back to your alma mater. Rutgers SPA, Sharon Stroy, thank you so much. And thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending this afternoon. To the panelists and Rutgers alum, thank you for the information. 30 years in higher ed, and I'm still learning something new every day. Please follow them, follow the information. Please get the link from the chat box, so that way you can apply. This is just the beginning of an opportunity and a relationship with the Department of Treasury and the state to provide resources for all students, especially at Rutgers University, Newark, and throughout the entire Rutgers system. So to our panelists, Dorothy, thank you for pulling this together.
Sure.
Everybody that is
My
working.
pleasure.
Myra, thank you for a student's perspective. We cannot do this without your perspective. And to all of the attendees that were here today,
Thank you.
please follow us on social media for any additional upcoming events. As a matter of fact, we have one this Wednesday. We are hosting a webinar with the youngest mayor in Earl, Arkansas. He is 18 years old and was just newly elected last year. So follow us on social media to where you can learn about anything that is possible here. Be safe, enjoy, and have a good evening.
Bye. Thank you.